Hey guys, it's Jen, and I just wanted to share with you a little tutorial on how I made these little tags that actually open up in Silhouette Studio using some of the Ali Edwards digital products from the Stuff Story Kit. And you can use this technique with any tags that you have, but I wanted to show you specifically how I made it for this layout. So I created a little video tutorial for you. So I'm going to share that with you now. So to get started, I have my Silhouette software open, and I'm just going to open up those tags that are in the Ali Edwards digital story kit, and these are under the in the embellishments folder. And I'm going to use this tag that says the story of this stuff, but you could really choose any of these tags, or you could do a mixture of them, but I'm just using one. And so I've opened the tag, and I ended up leaving my tag the size that it opens at, which is about 2 1/4 by 3 3/4. And that size worked great for me, but you could size it up and down depending on what you wanted. You could even size this to, so it was about 3 inches wide, and stick it in a pocket page, like a pocket protector if you wanted to. But this size worked great for me. So the first thing we're going to do, we're going to make this into, you could obviously just print this out and then punch a hole and it'd be great. But what I want to do is to print this and also cut it out with, so that it can be like a little card that folds in half. So the first thing I'm going to do is trace this tag to get the outline of the tag shape so it fits this exactly. So I'm going to go up here to my trace window. It's a little blue butterfly with a yellow outline. Select trace area. I'm going to drag over that tag, and you can see there's just this faint little outline. What it's doing is it's picking up the darkest areas of the tag. Now, usually when you're tracing something like one of Ali's PNG files or something like that, it's just black. You can just unclick high pass filter, and it automatically selects the area that you need, turns it all yellow. Now you can see here, all I have that's turned yellow is the center of the tag, and I'm going to zoom in here for you a little bit actually. The center of the tag and the words. So if I were to hit trace right now, what it would do is trace the little, what do you call those? The little tag thingy and the words. And that's not what I want. I want it to just trace the entire tag. So instead, what I'm going to do is select this. I am going to unclick high pass filter, but I'm going to up the threshold. And what the threshold does is it tells you what to include. So the higher the threshold is, the lighter color it will include. So as I move this up, you'll see that it fills out the words a little bit more, and as I keep moving it up, it's going to fill in the entire tag. And that's exactly what I want. So once I've upped the threshold enough for it to fill the entire tag, I'm going to go ahead and click on Trace, and now I have the tag traced. So to make this into a little fold out thing, what I'm going to do is I'll first create the fold out, and then I'll show you how we'll print and cut it out. So now this is one piece. That's great. What I'm going to do is duplicate that, and you can either right click and copy paste, or if you just hold down the Option or Alt key on your keyboard, you can see that there's this little arrow with a plus sign, and you can just hold that down and drag off another copy. So now I've got 2 here. So the next thing that we're going to do is I'm going to line these up so that they're overlapping, and if you need to zoom in a little bit to make sure, you can. So I'm just going to select these tags, make sure they're overlapping. They don't need to overlap a lot, just enough so that they're touching. And then we're going to weld those 2 together. So the way to weld these together is you select both tags. Oops, not that one, just these 2 right here. You're going to go up to the Modify window, which is right next to the Trace window. It has a little M. And you're going to click on Weld, and what that will do is weld these 2 shapes together. Now, if you click on Weld and it doesn't do anything like it didn't for me just now, that means your shapes aren't close enough together. So what I'm going to do is just use my keyboard to bump that over 1 space, and now I can weld them. And you can see now that line disappears, and I've got my tag shape. So what I did was just move this little part that I want to print back into the tag. Now I want to make sure that the holes line up on the circle, and that's basically what I'm paying attention to. And now we've got this tag ready to go. So let me zoom out a little bit. Now I'm going to print, for the layout that I created, I printed this 7 times. So I just duplicated this. I could only fit it twice on a page because I ended up using my 8.5 by 11 printer. If you have a 12 by 12 printer, I think you can get as many as 4 on a page, maybe even 6, but I think 4. And so that works out really well. So if you have a large format printer, great. If you don't, this will work with whatever printer size that you have. So what I'm going to do now is I need to, in order to print and cut this, because I want to print out that manila tag look and print out the story of this stuff, what I'm going to do is I need to turn on the registration marks, and that's going to make it so that when I put this through my silhouette in a minute, it will recognize where it needs to cut based on the registration marks that we're going to print with this. So you go to the registration marks window and you turn them on. And there you can see that it pulls up this little, it gives you a little bounding box, and it's going to print these little black lines on the corners. And that's where the silhouette machine will recognize what it needs to cut. So all you need to do is make sure that the area that you're going to print and cut in is contained within the lines and not going over any of this kind of grid portion. It won't do it properly if you have it overlapping those areas. So you just need to make sure it's all contained within that space. And now we're ready to go ahead and print this out. Now on my layout, you may have noticed that there were some typed words underneath the story of this stuff, and I used my typewriter to type those imperfectly onto the tags. But if you weren't into typing on the tags, what you could do is just grab your text tool, type something out like stuff, and I might make this a little bit smaller so that it fits better onto the tag. I'll just show you how you could print this off on here. And then what you want to do, let me zoom in. Oops. You could center the words below the other words. And what you need to do in order for them to print is you need to fill them in with a color. So what I'm going to do is go to the fill color window, and I could fill it in with black, or you could do a color. And then I'll do my line color as none, so that it doesn't have a line color. If you wanted to add the text before you print it out, that'd be easy enough to do. Or you could add it in Photoshop before you bring it into the Silhouette Studio. So back to what we were working on. Here we go. Okay, so I have both of those tags there. I've turned on my registration marks, and I've zoomed in a really weird spot. Hold on, let me just, there we go. All you need to do now is go ahead and print this out. So you just go to File, Print. It will print on your whatever printer you choose with these little registration marks on it. And then when you stick it through to cut, on your cut settings, you're going to choose whatever you're cutting it out of, which is probably some sort of cardstock. I just used a Nina white cardstock that I got at Walmart. That was simple enough to do. Now, if you added your own words, I do want to point this out here. Notice how it's cutting anywhere that it's red, that's what it's going to cut. Notice how it's set to cut out the word stuff. In order to get rid of that, what you're going to do, sorry if this is overload of information, but what you're going to do is go to, we're in the cut settings window. So we want to select that little word stuff, and we're going to choose no cut. That way it prints on there, but it doesn't cut out, and we don't want it to cut out. So unless you could do a cool cutout, that would look really cool too. So that's an idea for you to try. But we're just going to go ahead and print this and then send it through the Silhouette, and it will print and cut around those shapes. So let me go back and show you the finished product. And so here you see the final product. I ended up using 7 of the tags that I cut out, and they are just folded in half. So this half of the tag, if I can kind of show you taking it off just a little bit, it's just printed, and then I folded it in half, and then I wrote my story on the inside for each different object. Now I don't have a process video for this layout, but I thought I would do kind of just a layout share. So this is using the Stuff Story Kit. These came from the digital version of the kit. I'm subscribed to the physical story kit, and so I like to mix and match the digital and physical together. And so these are stickers that came in the physical story kit, as well as this wood veneer word and these chipboard words, and labels and things. So those all came in the physical kit, but you could print those things out and cut them out if you wanted to recreate this look, or do it all digitally. And these little stickers that are on each photo, they also came from this physical story kit. You get a little set of stickers like this, but you could easily print these right onto your photos before you print out your photos if you wanted to. So my photos ended up being 2 by 2, so that leaves just a tiny little border around them because the tags are about 3 3/4 by 2 1/4. And then on the inside of each one, like I mentioned, I wrote the story of that thing. So my journaling to the side here, I thought it was important when I do hidden journaling or something that you have to look for the journaling. I think it's important to write a little something on the main page, and so that people get an idea of what the page is about without actually having to open these if they don't open them. So it just says, these are the seemingly random objects that can be found around our home, and although they might not always fit the decor, they fit into the story of our lives. Love this stuff. And so I took 7 objects that are kind of random, that we have inherited or gotten from different places, that are kind of these random little things that I wanted to share with you in this. And so the first one is the story of this little candy dish. If you watch my process videos, you've probably seen it. I keep it here in my scrap room. So I just talked about how I inherited this dish from my grandma, and how I remember how she always had lemon drops in it, and now I use it almost daily in my craft room. This is a little wooden shark. Now on each one you can see I just typed what it is underneath the story of the stuff, and it's very imperfect. I used my regular typewriter, so some of them are close up and some of them are far away. Let me zoom in a little bit so you can see. Some of them are like really close to the words here, and some of them are a little bit farther away, and that's not something that's bothering me, so it's fine. But this little shark is something that we got from Philip's uncle, and in the inside I told the story of how his Uncle Dirk died of cancer. He was a single guy, he liked shopping, and he had a lot of stuff, and he, before he died, decided that he wanted us all to use fake money and auction off his things to make it fun for everybody. And so we had kind of a big party and all of his stuff there, and we all got some fake money and auctioned off his belongings. So that was kind of funny. And we have 4 of these little wood carved pieces that we got from that. This Snow White alarm clock on the inside tells the story about how I went to Disneyland my senior year of high school, and we each picked a character to represent us while we were there. And I chose Snow White and bought this alarm clock while I was there, and now my daughter uses this alarm clock. So that's kind of fun. So these are kind of all inherited things. This one tells the story of my grandma used to live with my parents for a little while, and at that time we lived up the street in a basement apartment, and Malia was just 2 years old or so, and she used to come down and visit Grandma Edie every day and my mom, and she would this was something that my grandma had there at my mom's house, and it plays music. You push this little button and the flowers kind of go up and down and dance. And so I just, when my grandma died, my daughter inherited that from her. So that was fun. So it's the same grandma that I got the dish from. This one is a golf ball. These are all like like I mentioned, things we inherited, so a lot of this has to do with when somebody died, we got this. But this golf ball, my uncle died of cancer as well, and when we went to his funeral, on the tables at the luncheon, there was a bunch of golf balls and tees all over the place because he super loved that, and so we took one home. This is a walnut nutcracker. I opened it up so that you could see that, you can kind of see in the picture, there's little grooves here where you stick the nut and then you close it. It's like really super heavy brass. And Philip's grandma, before she died also of cancer. So a lot of these people knew that they were going, and so they kind of planned what they would give away. But Philip's grandma decided that she would go around her house and place stickers on things and with people's names on it, so that when she passed away, all they'd have to do is pick up the object, look at the sticker, and see who it was supposed to go to. And some of the things were kind of like, it was funny who got different things, and we didn't know why she chose that person to get that thing, but we ended up with this big brass walnut nutcracker, which was funny. And then this is a little cat dish thingy that my daughter goes through phases where she's obsessed with things. She was obsessed with cats for a while, and my aunt from Arizona one day sent a big package full of she was cleaning out her house, and she sent a big package full of cat things to my daughter, and she just loved it. So that is the story of this one. So on each one, you can open it up to read more of the story, or, you know, if you're just a casual person who's casually flipping through the album, you can see these kind of random things without pulling it out to open each one up and read about how this is some random stuff that we have in our house. So I thought this was a fun layout to create, and I am so, again, loving these story kits to help me get the stories told that wouldn't otherwise get told, because I would have never thought to take these photos, which, by the way, if you're wondering about the photos, I just have some lights and some white board, like white foam core that I put up to make a little photo studio for myself to take photos of all of these objects. So I just grabbed them from around my home. I felt like that would be, rather than taking a picture of them in their place in my home, which would be another way to do this, just to create some cohesiveness, I decided to do that with each one. And that allows me to use whatever colors I want on here, kind of, because there's so much white, and I really like the way that looks. So anyway, I thought this was a fun story to tell that I wouldn't normally have told without the prompting to do it. So I'm so grateful for that. And if you have any questions, just leave me a comment in the video description below. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you soon.